Good morning, students. In today's class, we are going to continue with the story, How Much Land Does a Man Need? This is the part 3 of the story. Till part 2, we have completed unit 3. And in today's class, we are going to begin with unit 4, 5 and 6. As you are aware that the story has progressed and it has reached to the point where Feom, a greedy man, agreed for land, more and more land, is definitely going to lead him to trouble. And from a small piece of land that is to rented, he becomes a man of owing his own land. And when unit 3 finishes, he has come to know about a place where there is lot of land. And at the end of unit 3, he winds up his things and he sells them at a profit and moves to the new field. So when Feom reaches to the new place, he applies for the admission into the commune of the large village. And by this time, that is in unit 4, he is the possessor of 125 acres of land. It is not all together, but it is in different fields. Now, during the initial phase of settling down, Feom was very happy with the things because he is, getting used to the things that he has to do. He has to sow the wheat and then he has to reap it and then he has to cut it and then sell it to the market. So this process initially is very interesting and very alluring to Feom, but as time progresses, he gets more and more irritated. Since he has a desire and a temptation for a lot of land, he's not satisfied with this much of land. So the crops he keeps on changing every year. Sometimes it's wheat, sometimes it's something else. But then he says that this is not okay. He doesn't like the idea of having lands at different places, going to different places for sowing the crop and then cutting it and then transporting it to the city and all that stuff. So he says that if probably I get hold of the freehold land, then I would be very happy. But since there is no freehold land available, he keeps on continuing with this process for at least 3 years. That is renting the land and sowing the wheat, and then seasons come and go, and this process continues. Then finally, one fine day, Feom thinks that if he has his own land, he should be independent. So the unpleasantness that he feels is caused by, going to somebody else's field, doing the things there and then taking the things to a different places is very monotonous and very hectic for Feom. So now the desire arises in him to own a lot of land that is a freehold. So during this course, Feom comes to know that there is a peasant who is wanting to sell his land, and Feom bargains and haggles with him. And then he settled for 1,500 rubles, which is to be paid in cash and something to be paid later. So this man who sells his land to Feom has tea and has discussions with him. And while discussing the man, that is the peasant from whom Feom had purchased the land, he says that he has been returning from the land of the Bashkirs. The Bashkirs live very far away, and he had bought 13,000 acres of land for just 1,000 rubles. Now, for Feom, this is such a cheap amount. Just imagine 13,000 acres of land with just 1,000 rubles. So this is something which is unbelievable to Feom, and he keeps on inquiring the peasant as to what are the details of this particular bargain. So Feom comes to know that there is a lot of land with the Bashkirs, and these people live very far off. So having inquired about the place where the Bashkirs live, Feom decides to undertake his journey to procure more land. And then finally asking people and inquiring about the things, he reaches to the place where Bashkirs had pitched their tents. Whatever the description the farmer had given, the peasant has given to Feom, the description was completely correct. And there was lot of land available to them. They were not tilling their ground, their cattle and horses, they grazed in herds, and they had colts. They took the milks from them, and they had a happy place, surviving on whatever goods they have. So when Feom reaches to the place around the tents, they are surprised to have a visitor. And since Feom does not understand the language, an interpreter has been called, and he interprets what Feom has to tell them. And the Bashkirs are very delighted to know that this man has come to purchase land. He says that okay, we the Bashkirs, they agree on the condition that yes, they will receive the gifts that Feom has brought for them, and in return they will give him the land. So this decided, Feom is on the verge of having a deal struck with them, And when the interpreter translates that Pheom wants only lot of land, those people, they laugh loudly, but Pheom is not able to understand. So again they talk among themselves, and while they are talking among themselves, the chief of the Bashkis, he arrives. So everybody gets up to respect him, and the chief, he listens to what Pheom has to say, and then he says, okay, if you want land, we can give you land, you can take as much land as you want, but he says there is a deed which is to be made secure, else else we are not going to do it. He says, okay, Pheom agrees to the condition, and he says that, okay, I'm very well comfortable with whatever deal you have. So the deal is, according to Pheom, when he listens to it for the first time, he's a little surprised. The deal is, according to the chief of the Bashkirs, it is 1000 rubles a day. So Pheom is a little taken aback. He's a little surprised with this bargain, because 1000 rubles a day, he is not able to understand it. And then he questions the chief as to what does it mean. He says, don't be surprised. In a day, you can get as much land as you want. And the chief starts laughing at, while saying this. And he says, the complete land will be yours. But the condition that we have set is, for giving you the entire land, whatever you have, is that you have to return to the spot where you started. Otherwise, all your money is lost. So the question that Pheom puts to the Bashkir's chief is that, how do I know that I have this much of land? So he says, you can take a spade with you, and you can start digging a hole, whatever your way is, and then you can do the same way when you are coming backwards. When you're coming back to the position, and the distance that you cover, the area that you cover, all belongs to you, but the condition only is that you have to come to the place where you started. Only then the deal is yours, otherwise you lose everything. So Pheom is very delighted to hear the proposal. It seems to him that it is a very interesting proposal, because how much he walks and whatever distance he covers belongs to him. So he decides of taking the deal tomorrow morning, and he is given a comfortable bed to rest, and for the night, providing the Bashkis provide him with the best of food, and they wait for tomorrow so that he can begin his journey. So dear students, till unit 6 we have completed the story, almost 3/4, and it has brought us close to the climax, where Pheom has finally reached to the place where there is abundance of land, and I think this place will be able to satisfy the greed and the temptation that he has. What happens to Pheom? Is he able to procure a large area of land? Is he able to take lot of land, or it happens something other? So this would be dealt with the unit 7 and unit 8 of the story in tomorrow's class. This much so for the class today. Thank you.